So our next speaker is a very special person. Berenice from Canada. She's an artist. She's a songwriter. I was able to listen to her amazing music at the annual conference of the Canadian Stuttering Association. Who brings their band halfway across the country just because they wanted to donate music to the Saturday night dinner. Her band comes with her just because they support her. It was just amazing experience. She's got a great story. We asked her to be here today, and we're lucky to have her. Thank you so much, and it's all yours.
Thank you so much, Tom, for this amazing introduction. I'm really humbled. Thank you for inviting me. So good day, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. So my name is Berenice Mengo. My artist name is Berenice Edima. So if you look on your Facebook or your Instagram and TikTok and everywhere, I'm Berenice Edima. And if you are on LinkedIn, just connect with me with my name, Berenice Mengo. So who am I? I'm actually a communications professional at the federal government of Canada. I've been working for the CRA, so the Canada Revenue Agency, for 4 years now. First, I started as a taxpayer services agent, which means I was working in the call center, actually. So talk about stuttering and being a call center agent. It wasn't always easy, but even though I would stutter while working, I would have amazing feedback by the taxpayers who may not be necessarily happy when calling, because when you call for your taxes, it's not really always good news, right? So so I have to deal with the taxpayer who actually gave me great comments on my courage on taking on this job, which may be challenging to people that don't even stutter. So you can imagine how challenging it is to someone who stutters. So I was able to do that for 2 years. I even got promoted as a senior taxpayer services agent. And then I got another promotion being a team leader in communications. I've always loved communications, and I've been in the I'm actually holding an MBA in digital marketing. So communication, is my background training and professional experience as well. Being a person who started working in communications hasn't always been easy, because I may not have had the understanding and so people will actually question my skills because I will stutter, because when you stutter, you don't look confident, because it's just the way you may not look confident. It's just the way it is. But I've worked my way to. I've actually started practicing speaking as a sport, like because home my life, I had avoided speaking I had avoided speaking, and it started has had a really huge toll on my life, having actually me making decisions based on whether I will speak more or less in this or that position. So it would have a lot of a power in my life. And then anyway, so I will be sharing more about that in a moment. So yeah, so I'm also an artist, like Tom has mentioned before. I've always loved singing and writing poems, and because since when I was a kid, and even in my adult years, it is very recent that I was able to have this assurance while speaking in public. When I was younger, I couldn't hold a conversation at all. I wouldn't be able to. So my stutter was much more severe than it is today, and I am very happy of the progress that I've made. I know that it's different from person to person. Me, what has helped me is that I had actually decided. I had actually decided to be happy. This is the simplest way to put it. I decided to be happy because I just wasn't, and it would have a huge toll on my speech. Like the previous presenter was saying, I was born in Cameroon, Africa, so there isn't much speech therapist there. There isn't much support with the kids who stutter. There is no accommodation for kids who stutter at school and in the workplace. So people who stutter there lack support. Now we see more and more association trying to help the community and give them the support they need. But I've grown up in an environment where I was feeling like an alien, like a weirdo, like someone no one else would understand. So yeah, I had grown up in that environment where I felt like alone and not understood at all, and being bullied at school as well by either my classmates or my teacher. I actually had a teacher who was so misinformed about stutter that he would anyway, so he would do all the contrary that is expected from a teacher, not supportive at all, bullying and having harsh words on me, even being physical. Back then, that was in the 90s. No self-confidence at all, and very unhappy, and always being harsh on myself, like why, and especially being a girl, us girls, women like to be me anyways. I wish I would be pretty and stuff, but being a girl who stutters, making these weird faces and not being, like the regular girl next door, just being a weirdo in the class. That's how I viewed myself, actually. And so I grew up in that hostile environment, and being an artist has actually saved me, because it was the only way I would express myself best. I don't know about you, but when I sing, I don't stutter. When I sing, I don't stutter. I don't know how it is, or how come it. I mean, I really don't know how it happens, but it's just the way it is. And I've always felt that freedom, singing and writing, expressing myself through my my art, actually. And I'm also a mom. I'm also a mom of a 6-year-old, and being a mom is really challenging, because my son has special needs, and my son is autistic and is nonverbal. Sometimes I question myself, if I was more comfortable with my speech, would my son be speaking today? I don't know. Maybe that's another story. I may have to to make some research about that. But I have, speaking to me is an effort. It's not, so I tend to avoid speaking as much as possible. That's just natural to me, and I don't know if it has had an impact on my son, but that's another story. So I started stuttering when I was 5 years old. And before that, I would speak based on what my mom would tell me. I would speak fluently. I would have, I would be a happy kid. And even if, I don't know if the fact that my parents separated and it was really hard, it was really difficult at home with my parents being in a happy couple. But at 5 years old, I started stuttering. And I had two of my big brothers stuttering as well. So I heard that stuttering may be genetic as well. So I started stuttering at 5 years old. And I was always frustrated. I was always angry, always unhappy. So I would never smile on pictures. I would always have my fist like this, and always be, being in a really unhappy state. And as I mentioned before, I decided to become happier despite my stuttering. And I got rid of stressful situations in my life, a relationship, because since I would, like I mentioned, being a woman, a girl who stutters, I will have so low self-esteem that than the person who will be interested in me, even if it will not be the best person for me, I'll be happy that the person will be interested in a girl who stutters, right? So this is not really the right way to approach relationships. So yeah, being in bad relationships, so my stutter even got worse, because I have made a direct link, being, surrounded by positivity and having having an increased fluency. To me, it has worked, that, getting rid of negative energy would have a direct impact on my self-esteem and stutter, actually. So, and I also got rid of a job that I really didn't like, and really a hostile environment as well, not appreciated at my true value. And yeah, so I really wasn't happy in that work job, and I would cry every morning to go to that place, and it was really hard. And sorry, and I also got rid of bad habits, and because I would always be really harsh on myself, really hard. I mean, be really harsh on myself, like self-inflicting me punishment to have started. For example, I usually would stutter when I would present myself to strangers. And after that, I would be, why did you make a bad impression again, Berenice? Why? Oh, you're so bad. You're so this and that. I will always be so harsh on myself. And this will definitely be not very helpful. So I got rid of these bad vibes around me, job, habits, relationship that will bring me down. And one day I attended a conference by the Quebec Stuttering Association in Montreal, Canada. And there was a presenter that said that it is okay to stutter. She read that in a book, and she shared that with the audience. And that simple phrase struck me. I was like, how come it is okay to stutter? I mean, stuttering is so bad. It's so frustrating. there is nothing okay with stutter. Why would it be okay to stutter? And then with time, I came to realize that actually, because my ultimate goal in life was to not stutter at all. And then I realized that, okay, so if it's okay to stutter, that means that I may stutter for the rest of my life, and that's okay. That's okay. And that shifted my mindset and trying to be perfect, because I wanted to be perfect, actually. I wanted to be perfect. And trying not to be perfect would help me accept myself as I was, with my flaws and my qualities and my gifts, and accept that it's okay not to be perfect, actually. So, and that actually helped me with reconstructing myself, being a happier and more, a person with more self-esteem. I'm still working on that, but it has really helped me accepting myself the way I am, even with my stutter. So it's okay to stutter. That's the very first thing that made me shift my, change my mindset. It is okay not to be perfect. I view my stuttering as a disability, especially for work accommodation. A quick anecdote here. I had to pass an exam because I'm a French. My first language is French, beside my native language in Cameroon, which is Boulou. And so I speak French, and I had to prove in the workplace that I'm also fluent in English. And I made it. I passed the test. I didn't declare that I started, so I passed the test. To me, I did great. I was confident that I would pass the test, but then I failed. When I got my result, I failed, and and then I realized that they actually evaluate the hesitation you may have as a lack of, mastering, like you wouldn't master the language enough, which means, so because to have the promotion I needed, I wanted, you would have to have a certain score, and I failed. I had a lower score and I failed that test. Then I realized that, oh, if maybe I had declared myself as a person with a disability, with a stutter, maybe they would have evaluated me accordingly, taking into account my, speech challenges. And then I retested, but after requesting for the accommodation. So I sent my speech therapist report. By the way, I had my first speech therapist. I had my first speech therapist while being a teenager in Cameroon, but because it was so expensive, I couldn't afford continuing. So I really didn't have the support. And then I came here in Canada 18 years ago, and I had a speech therapist about 12 years ago, and I had a speech therapist for 2 years. And then at some point, she told me that you have all the techniques, you have everything that you need to know. Now, what may bring you to the next level, I can tell you, I can tell you, you have to find it by yourself. And I wouldn't know exactly what she meant until I realized that actually I had to accept myself as I was, as I am, with my stutter. I had to accept the fact that I may be stuttering for the rest of my life. I had to accept that it is okay to stutter, and that it is possible to actually speak with confidence, even with the stutter. So just concluding with the anecdote. So when passing the the exam, the language is the exam with the accommodation. I started so bad. My goodness, I was so stressed out, and I was really, as stuttering. So there are good and bad days. So some days are better than the others. So that day was a bad day, a really bad day. So I started so bad, and I passed because I was able to prove that I had the vocabulary and everything. So I was evaluated based on the fact that I self-declared myself as a person with a disability. So they evaluated me accordingly, taking that into account. So that's why. So at first, it was hard for me to look at myself as a person with a disability. And then I realized that if it can actually help me in the workplace, why not? Why not? Yeah, so self-acceptance was a huge step for me as well. And I am beautiful as I am. Like I mentioned before, making those huge gestures while speaking and making these strange faces as well. It's just the way I am. And and it's okay. It's okay. So this has really helped me accepting my stutter as accepting me as I was. And as I usually say, before stutter would have, if my life was a car, stutter will be, the main driver, and me, I will be in the back seat of my own life. And then I decided to take control of my car, of my life back, and I put stutter not in the back seat, but in the trunk, of the car of my life, like just to say that I decided to really take control and not let stutter decide what my life will look like. So that's how radical I have been with that. So I deserve to live my best life. I am enough. I shouldn't thank people for accepting me as a person who stutters. I control my stuttering. Stuttering does not control me. Stuttering does not define me. I may stutter for the rest of my life, and that's okay. So the outcome of that is that the more I practice, the better I become. Like I mentioned, I practice speaking like a sport. So before in school or at work, when we would have presentations and everything. So in school, for example, I would avoid speaking at all costs because at first I would be so ashamed to be in front of people and not to be able to say a single word. So I will block for a long minute and I will be so ashamed. But then I decided to speak because if we don't educate people, how will they know about us? Because people are not necessarily aware of what stuttering is. And we are the ones who have to do, even, I know it's hard, but we are the ones that have to raise awareness to the general population. So me, I'm pretty vocal with my stutter now. I wasn't at all before. So I'm pretty vocal with my stutter now, even it would be at school or at work. So at school, I will raise my hand if I have a question. I would practice speaking as a sport, because the more as an athlete, so the more you will speak, the better you will become at it, right? So I would practice speaking as a muscle. I would train myself to speak more and more. And that's how I am able to speak to you like this today. And this is night and day with how I was before. So I announce my stuttering when necessary. So for example, if I had to make a presentation to an audience, I would, because people would just not, people wouldn't know, actually. So I would just announce my stuttering, and I would even crack a joke in the meantime, like saying, for example, okay, so good day, everyone. I hope you are not in a hurry because I have a stutter, so it might take longer than so, and people will laugh. I will laugh, and it will make everyone at ease, and I will allow myself to stutter. And the presentation usually goes very well after that, after announcing my stuttering. I am no longer afraid of the phone. I don't like the phone, but I'm not afraid of it any longer. It was my worst nightmare, but I am no longer afraid of that based on what I just shared, like practicing more and more. I choose the job I want to do. If it would involve speaking. So I had come to the conclusion that I cannot avoid speaking because we live in a world with other people. So we have to interact with each other, which is perfectly fine and even needed, necessary. And do not so I was so self-isolated, and I decided not to do that anymore, and just to choose what I wanted to do in my career. And yeah, so I was fortunate enough to be selected as a coordinator of the International Media Center at the 2022 COP15, which was held in Montreal. So I was the lead of a team of federal communications professionals. And I was able to do that and even have a certificate of recognition by the Canada's environment minister. So celebrating the victories in your everyday life is very, very, very important to build self-confidence. So and yeah, so sorry, my son just popped in. So yeah, so celebrating the small and the bigger victories is very, very, very important to build your self-confidence and build a overall state of happiness.